Well, hey there, Mama, and welcome back to the Moms Overcoming Overwhelm podcast, episode number 185. I'm Emily McDermott, and I'm here beside you on this journey as we work together to declutter your home, head, and heart. Today, I'm very excited to share with you 5 decluttering rules that I love to break. Now, I am a rule follower, so the thought of me wanting to break any rules is pretty interesting if you know me at all. And I think that these are rules that you are going to want to break too, because it tends to keep us stuck in perfectionism and stuck in overwhelm, and then we don't actually get anything done. So, what do you say? Grab that notebook and pen, and let's dive into today's episode. Hey there, Mama. Are you tired of all the stuff crowding your home, calendar, and mind? Do you wish you could say goodbye to the endless to-do list running around in your head? Want to declutter but don't know where to start? You're in the right place. Welcome to Moms Overcoming Overwhelm, where you will find proven and practical solutions to declutter your home, head, and heart. Hi, I'm Emily, a wife, boy mom, and simplicity seeker. I struggled to get pregnant and felt overwhelmed until I discovered decluttering could create the physical and emotional space I needed to become a mom. Now, 2 kids later, I've transformed my life and motherhood by developing simple systems around decluttering, capsule wardrobes, kid stuff, cleaning and tidying, meal planning, time management, and more, and I can't wait to share them with you. If you're ready to reclaim the time and energy you crave, be present with your kids, and finally enjoy the life and motherhood you so deserve, let's kick overwhelm to the curb, shall we? Grab your lukewarm coffee, your notebook and pen, and clear off some counter space. Let's do this. Just one quick announcement in the Facebook group, which is now over 800 moms strong, over at tinyurl.com/moms overcoming overwhelm. We are in the middle of our 6-week Lenten decluttering and intentional spending challenge. So every day in the group, if you're interested in following the challenge, I am posting a mini challenge, just a prompt for you, as well as an optional Bible verse and then a journal reflection question. So if you're interested in joining, head over to the group and we would love to have you. We have been discussing generosity, gratitude, stewardship. We're also going to be talking about simplicity and surrender, and it's going to end right before Easter. So hope you can join us. Okay. Are you ready to break some rules? We're going to dive into these 5 rules. And the first one that I notice a lot with my clients is that we want to find the perfect place to donate things. Now, this is not a bad thing, but we'll separate things out to, oh, I want to sell this. Oh, I want to give this to this certain charity. I want to give this to a friend. And that's all well and good. The problem is it tends to get us stuck, because it takes time and energy to sell things. It takes time and energy to drive things to certain locations. So at the beginning, when you are inundated with stuff, I recommend checking whether there are donation pickup options in your area. Some of the ones I know near me are Green Drop or Pick Up Please, which is through Veterans Associations. And if you just do a search for a donation pickup near me, I'm sure you can find several. And it's even a better thing to have a weekly appointment where you're setting it up that every Friday afternoon, for example, you have a donation pickup. Once you feel like you can breathe in your home a little bit, then you can be more discerning. You can perhaps sell some things or pick specific charities. But at the beginning, please, 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 do what you need to do to get it out of your house. Okay, rule number 2 that we're going to break is when decluttering books and podcasts recommend that you take everything out, right? So if you heard of this, like you are working on your closet today, so let's take everything out of your closet and put it on your bed. Well, the thought of doing that fills me with a ton of anxiety. And even if you put 2 to 3 hours aside for you to go through your closet, for example, inevitably something is going to happen. A kid is going to need something, or the school's going to call and your kid is sick, or you have any other kind of interruption. And then you're left with a complete mess. So my recommendation is looking at subcategories. and focusing on how much space you want to devote to that subcategory. So using the closet as an example, or even the clothing you might have in drawers, maybe one day you say, okay, I'm going to spend 20 minutes focusing on my socks. So you get all the socks out of the drawer and you decide, do I still want this whole drawer for socks? Do I just want part of the drawer? You set your boundary, and then you're going to fill the boundary with what you love and use the most. And then if you get interrupted, you might just have a couple pairs of socks on the bed, but it's not like you have the entire contents of your closet on the bed. So when it comes to clothing or even toys and some of these other larger categories, break it into subcategories. That way you're not stuck with the mess. Okay, number 3. Now, I have an episode, I'll link to it in the show notes, about Marie Kondo. Marie Kondo seems like such a sweet woman. And I have an episode about when she famously said that she was kind of giving up on tidying and how she wasn't really like giving up. However, what she's best known for is this idea of holding something in your hands and asking yourself if it sparks joy. Well, that is not one of the questions that I ask myself. And I have a free resource I'm going to share with you in the show notes called 50 Questions Minimalists Ask. Even if you're not a minimalist, it's okay. But some of those questions have to do with when you're decluttering, the questions that are maybe a little bit more helpful to ask yourself. And when it comes to clothing specifically, I don't think it makes a lot of sense to hold on to it if it sparks joy. I actually, when clients are asking me, how much clothing should I keep in these different categories, it's a function of 2 things. One thing we just talked about is how much space you want to devote to that thing. So in your closet, you can actually on the hanging rod put a little indicator, maybe masking tape, that you say, okay, I want tank tops to fill up this much space, short sleeve shirts, long sleeve shirts, jackets, whatever your categories are, and actually set the boundary for it. So that's one way we can decide. And the second way is depending on the frequency of laundry. So I always ask people, how frequently do you do laundry, or do you want to do laundry? Because if you do laundry, let's just say once a week, although most people I know do it more frequently than that. If you do it once a week, you would need probably 14 to 15 of each type of category, assuming that you wear something one day and maybe it gets a stain on it, so you need a backup. And by having 14 to 15 shirts, pants, jackets, pairs of socks, etc., then you have that boundary for how much you're keeping and not so much the sparking joy. You are going to start filling the boundary with what you love, so that kind of aligns with the spark joy concept, but I feel like we need to be a lot more practical about how we're making decisions. Okay, we're moving on to number 4. This is a controversial one. Keeping a maybe box. So a lot of times when you hear, okay, we are going to sort and we're going to put them in the categories, we're going to put it into piles, right? We have our keep pile, we have our donate pile, perhaps we have a trash pile, we just put it in the trash bag, and then you have a maybe pile. And maybe just means unmade decisions without any kind of deadline. I am not a fan of that. So I twist this around a little bit to have it be an out of sight, out of mind bin, which I've talked about before. So if you are filling your boundary using the container concept, right, from Dana K. White, so you're filling your boundary with what you love and what you like, then there are going to be things that you're not really sure about. Those you might say, oh, well, those are the maybes. Yes and no. So we are going to put it in a bin that we can't see through, especially if it's for toys for kids or things they might be curious about. And we're going to put a reminder on our phone and a sticky note on the bin for a certain number of days. And then we have a reminder, we have a deadline. And once the deadline comes up, if we haven't missed anything, then we will consider letting those go. So maybe box, no. Out of sight, out of mind bin with a particular deadline, that works far better. Okay, we are all ready to number 5. And this is more, if you've ever watched like the Home Edit or watched some of these organizational transformation types of shows, everything is very matching and cohesive with your bins. They go to the container store and they get all the bins, and that's really expensive. Now, if cohesiveness in your decor and design is really important to you, then by all means invest in that. But what I typically do is when I get Amazon boxes, I will cut off the lids of those to just use those as drawer dividers, especially for clothing. And just knowing that the best systems and the best tools aren't necessarily the expensive, fancy ones. They're the ones that you actually use and what you stick with. Okay, I have a bonus tip. Trying to make a funny siren noise for that. It didn't really work. Okay, so your bonus tip is, and the bonus, I guess, rule to break is a lot of people think that once you've decluttered your whole home, then you just effortlessly maintain it for eternity. Unfortunately, that's not the case. You have to have daily habits that you're consistent with as far as tidying habits go. But also there might be shifts in your family and in your season of motherhood. You might move, your kids might be in different activities, you might have a new job, there might be a new baby. And because of those shifts, you might have to do a large declutter again. So once you've decluttered your home, it's not a one and done. You most likely are going to have that in another season, and that's okay. Because as long as we and our family members are changing and growing, then we are going to need to declutter. Okay, well, there you have it. Those are the 5, or rather 6 rules that I love to break and would recommend that you break too when it comes to decluttering. Number 1 is separating out what you want to sell and give to certain charities and friends, etc. At the beginning. Just do a donation pickup. The second is taking everything out at one time and kind of just putting it on the bed only to be interrupted minutes later. Focus on subcategories and small decluttering timeframes instead. I always recommend 15 to 20 minutes. Number 3 is keeping things, especially clothing, based upon what sparks joy. I would recommend a more practical approach as to how we're making those decisions for clothing, how frequently we're doing laundry, and how much space you want to devote. Number 4 is using that maybe box, which doesn't have a deadline. I recommend the out of sight, out of mind bin that has a deadline. And then number 5 is the matching cohesive bins. I would recommend just getting scrappy and using what you have. And the bonus is recognizing that decluttering your home is not one and done. As long as you and your family members are growing and changing, you will likely need to do some future declutters in your life. So I hope that these were helpful to you. And if you want more support with decluttering, you can of course come over to the free Facebook group, tinyurl.com/moms overcoming overwhelm. And I'm always available if you're interested in one-on-one coaching, either virtual or in person, simplebyemmy.com/coaching. So I hope that you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next Thursday. Bye for now. If you like today's podcast, here's what you can do. Just take 30 seconds to leave me a review. I know you're a busy mama. You're overwhelmed, in fact, but 30 seconds of your day makes such an impact. I'll be blessed by your words. They'll definitely make my day. And who knows, you might be entered for this month's giveaway. In Apple Podcasts, scroll down to write a review. Thanks so much for your time. I'm so grateful for you.